Earlier this year, we told you about a citizen-led science program that was digging into just how bad the pollution problem is on our beaches, with a focus on tiny pieces of plastic.
And that effort has now wrapped up, and the Coastal Federation's Stacia Strong has a look at the data that was collected.
This summer, a group of volunteers spent quite a bit of time out on the beach combing through the sand in search of this. Microplastics.
The microplastics sampling program we modified from the EPA's beach plastic sampling protocol, and we engaged roughly 30 volunteers that are sampling beaches all the way from North Topsail Beach down to Sunset Beach to just take a look at what the microplastics issue might be like on our most frequently visited beaches.
The North Carolina Coastal Federation hosted the Citizen Science Program in an effort to better understand what kind of plastic pollution was showing up on the beach.
So once weekly, volunteers would go out to their assigned beach access and use sieves and their buckets and some of the beach water, or excuse me, some of the ocean water. And they're looking for microplastics that are 5 millimeters in size or less. So the sieve would catch those tiny, tiny microplastics, and they would categorize them into 5 different categories and count them up at the end as part of our, greater data collection.
Now that the sampling has wrapped up, organizers say they were surprised by some of the results of the collections.
The trend that I think I wasn't exactly expecting is that a couple of our volunteers took it upon themselves to sample sound side and intercoastal water side locations as well. Microplastics were much more heavily accumulated in those waters near more of the marsh habitat versus on the beach sand. But if you think about it, it makes sense because the marsh grasses, the tides, just the way that the hydrology works in and out of those ecosystems, they're gonna kind of capture and hold on to more of that debris.
Aside from where more of these tiny plastics were found, there was also a particular type that was found more often.
So one of the things that we learned during the microplastic sampling program is that the small polystyrene or small foam beads are something that are incredibly prevalent all up and down the coast, and that floating docks are the primary source of them.
And it's not just the data collection the Coastal Federation was interested in. Coastal advocate Carrie Allen and her team took the results to local towns.
We were able to draft ordinances that now 4 towns in North Carolina have adopted, requiring the encapsulation of these floats. And so with this success, we've actually had people from other states all over the country reach out and want to emulate what's been done here.
Another key takeaway, according to the program organizers, was also the awareness the sampling brought about the pollution problem in North Carolina.
One thing that we've really learned for just talking with the general public is they had no idea the depth of the problem. Most of our beaches around here are pretty clean. And so for someone to go out on a beach that looks pretty spotless and then just find all of these microplastics, I think it really opened a lot of people's eyes and realized that there's more work to be done.
Reporting for the Coastal Federation and WRAL, I'm Stacia Strong.
Very interesting findings there. Organizers of the microplastic sampling project say they plan to continue the sampling efforts in 2023 with a higher focus on sound side areas based on this year's results.